was the summer of 2023. So last year it was like July, like mid-July, I think. And our world championships team had just been named not too long before that. I was training and everything seemed to be going well. One day I woke up and I was pretty sick. I had a really, really bad respiratory infection. But in typical McKenzie fashion, I was not going to let that slow me down. So I said, you know what, we'll deal with it the best we can, but training has to be what it is right now. So I kept going like full throttle. And it had been about a week of this. There was a particularly hard practice. We were at Meadowbrook outside in the long course lanes. And let me tell you, it
Cement walls,
started.
super glamorous.
Yes.
Yep.
Super glam, love it, like photo ops everywhere. We were outside in the pool and it was a pretty brutal long course, like distance free practice. So right up my alley. I was excited to like attack it, but truth be told, I was feeling really, really terrible. So we were doing a set of 400s and in the middle of it, it started raining. And I was already very congested. I couldn't really breathe very well. And I just remember I started choking on so much water during this set. I had to stop. I like could not keep going. And I got out of the water and there was this really odd ringing in the back of my left ear now. And I didn't know if it was just because I had coughed so hard, but it didn't feel right. So I left practice and I went to urgent care and they kind of just dismissed me. So I was like, maybe it'll go away in a couple of days. Just give it some time. So I went home. 2 days later, ended up back in urgent care. And then finally, for a third and final time, one Saturday night, I went to urgent care again because something didn't feel right. And I had told them time and time again. And they dismissed me. So I went home, woke up the next morning, and the left side of my face was completely paralyzed. And I looked in the bathroom mirror and I couldn't believe it. I thought I was having a stroke. So I called my boyfriend and he came and picked me up and I kind of sugarcoated it on the phone. I was like, yeah, it's probably not a really big deal, but like,
Don't freak out. Don't freak out.
Totally fine. You're like an hour away, but this is just what's happening. I might like go to the ER in a bit, just see if it goes away, And he
Stop
goes,
by.
yeah, exactly. He comes over and he goes, okay. Like I've never seen his face like that. He starts grabbing my purse and I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm just packing you a bag, let's go to the ER. Just, you have great insurance. Let's just go see what's happening.
Go.
So we went to the ER within 10 seconds and I've been through my fair share of ER visits. Believe me, I was back in a room being evaluated. So I spent the night there and then they came back the next day and told me I had Bell's palsy. When they told me I had Bell's palsy, they said, yeah, there's like a 60% chance that this will never heal. Keep in mind, I am sitting here. Breathing is really hard because I can't use the left side of my face. I can't feel anything on this side. I can't blink. I can't to sleep that night, which would become a common occurrence. So in the next few months, I had to tape my eyes shut with an eye patch over it. So just the craziest thing. So I went home, immediately found like acupuncture and things I could do. But I just, in my mind, I've been through so much. I've been swimming with broken femurs, broken ribs in Rio. Like there's nothing I can't handle, right? So I go to the pool and I have never struggled so much in my entire life. I just didn't realize how much, you realize how much of a difference it makes, but you really don't until you can't use certain things.
Half of your face.
Exactly. So I went to training and I just remember thinking, uh-oh, this is not good. And I just kept going back and kept trying. And there was multiple times, I know Brian knew that this was happening. I was just like crying in the water, but I was trying to hide it with my goggles and I just wouldn't talk about it. So Brian pulls me aside one day. I tried to do everything I could. Breathe to the other side. Well, that still doesn't help me because one side's not functioning. I'm still choking on water. I have to stop, take my goggles off to blink. It was crazy. And Brian goes, why are you doing this to yourself? And I go, we leave for Worlds in like 2 weeks. I've never missed a major meet, not for any fracture, not for anything. And he kind of just leaned forward and he goes, you have nothing left to prove to anyone. We know how strong you are, but right now you need to take care of yourself. And I'm sitting here telling him, no, I'm going to go to Worlds. And he goes, McKenzie, what is that going to do for you? And so I thought about it. The more time that I spent fighting it, the less time that I was spending getting better and getting everything together for next year's games, which at the end of the day is the ultimate goal. So I left there. I made the announcement that I wasn't going to be going to world championships. And that day I sat in my apartment and I just cried. I didn't know what else to do. I felt like a piece of me was just gone. Um, and so I got a game plan though. After that, I let myself feel it for 24 hours and I said, I'm not swimming right now. I have to take a break. So what am I going to do in its place? PT, acupuncture, we're going all in. So I started going 4 or 5 times a week. That was some of the hardest work I've ever done. I've been in PT my whole life, but doing it with your face is a whole different game. So I started doing that. But looking back on it now, and it's easy because everything is said and done with games, but that was probably one of the hardest times in my life, but I'm super grateful for it. Because for the first time, it gave me a chance to step back from swimming and reflect on everything and all the things that made me McKenzie. And it was almost like I was having one of those post Rio moments, that
Yeah.
self reflection where I'm so much more than just a sport. And I knew I was going to get through it. It just was not going to be easy.